So in the last tutorial, we saw how we created an entire web API using, of course, .NET9 for JWT token, being able to create a login, registration, and refresh tokens. So we want to see how we can utilize that on our client application. So we'll proceed and do that in this video. So as you can see in my screen, so this is the application as it stands so far. So to be able to consume the web API that we created, we need to come to this application, then add a folder and call it services. And then here, add a new class and call it iAccount. iAccount service. So public. Then we put the actually it's supposed to be interface, not. So we put these tasks as they were in our user service. They are almost the same, as you can see. The only thing we are introducing is the session ID, as you can see, but the rest remain the same. So once you have that, add another class now. And then call it account service. So this is public class iAccount service. Okay. So implement that. So we need to call these methods in a way that they will be able to act as a connector between the API and the client application. So to do this, we need to add another class here, actually another folder. Add another folder, call it helpers. So this one will have helper methods for us to be able to effectively interact with our UI. Okay. So the first class we add here is what we call app constants. So here you just call it app constants like that. So this is public. So you can see here we have constants, the authentication type, we have the HTTP client name, we have storage key, and the header key. I think once we utilize them, you'll understand what it means. But their names are self-explanatory as far as helping us to utilize our JWT token is concerned. So the next class we are adding under our helpers is what you call HTTP client validator. Okay, so here say public class, and then put this. So let me explain them as we go along. So what we need to do first is to import or to inject the HTTP client. So this is the HTTP client, like that. Then the other thing we need to implement is the iLocal storage. So with that we need to import a package. Let's see. So the iLocal storage service. So we need a package. So the package there is So let me just go to manage NuGet. So the package there is local blazor.local, actually it's there. So local, so blazor.local storage. Okay, so install. Yeah, so it is installed. Then come back here. So you import it like that. Then here it will give you local storage. So the run is done. Then we have another class we need to add called serializer or deserializer. So add a new class. So this is public. So this one is supposed to help us in serializing and deserializing our requests. So that is simply what it will be helping us to do. So as you can see, it is deserializing through this method, the local storage DTO. So you pass this string and should be able to deserialize it into this model. Okay, and you can see this model, if you can just go back, it has the token and refresh token. So if I call this deserialize, I need to get uh, the individual entities within this string that I have passed. And when I'm serializing, I'm passing the model of the local storage to serialize it into a string. Okay, so that's what this class will be helping us with. So just close it like that, like that. So you can see we have no errors. So let's go through it. We see again what it has. So we've injected the HTTP client and the I local storage service. So we declare the access token here as a string. So the first thing we're doing is get unsecured HTTP client. This method will be mostly for those endpoints that you need to access before you authenticate, mostly for login and registration. So you can see it just removes the headers and then returns the HTTP client as it is. Then we have this one for the secured HTTP client. What it does, it gets the whatever is stored in the local storage on our browser, and then if it's not empty, both the access token, then you should just return the HTTP client, meaning use this to authenticate whatever is in local storage. But if it is null, then what we are saying is you should return the HTTP client, and by this it will remove the header, and then it will remove the HTTP key, and then we will get the value of this token here and assign it to the access token and then return the HTTP client. And then for this one is to this method that you're seeing here, get local from local storage, it's getting this string from the local storage that we have stored, and then it is deserializing it into the individual components of the local storage DTO. Again, this one is setting it is setting up the string to local storage, as you can see. So that's all that is happening here. It is how we are managing the access token we have on the client side. Okay, so once we have that, let me close this and close that and close this. So just maybe a point to note, you can see this authentication type. If you come here, you can see this is where the header key is. So if a method is unsecured, what you're doing is you're removing any header that you're seeing here. So the application will check and ensure that this header is not there, so that it does not query you to be authenticated, or does not need you to put a token for you to be authenticated. That's what will happen. But for the secured one, you can see we will remove whatever header is there and then add the header afresh. So it will, that's why it's saying default HTTP request authorization. So it will add this authorization header so that it is something that you have to supply before you can proceed. Okay, and then what else? So we have this one here, the HTTP client. If you search here, no, I think this one I removed it. We removed it. It's not something that we are using it anymore, but it can just stay for your own testing and analysis. So I'll leave it at that. Okay, thank you. So once we have this, we can now implement our services. So let's begin with the create role async. So the create role async, we just add this code here like this. This code is more or less repetitive, so I'll explain one and then we just add the rest quickly so that we finish and proceed on. Okay, so we have these methods here. Let's add them so that we can continue. So the only one I'm importing here, the one that I'm injecting is the HTTP client validator, this one, and then it will be validator like that. So it's the only one that I'm importing. This one here, I can have it pushed in like that. And then, so these methods, we have to add them. So, okay, so I'll put them in a region just down here like that. Okay. So this one here, the check response status. So it's checking the HTTP response, and then if the response is not successful, it will give this error here. Yet, if that's not the case, it will return null. This one, it will check the response if it is authorized or not. If it is unauthorized, return true, so that you tell the user, return the 401 error. If not, meaning it is authorized, so you return false. And then the request and set new token. So we are pushing a session user ID. Then we get the token from local storage and then hit the refresh API that we created. Okay, then from there, the response that we get, if the response is none, then return false. Yet if not, you set the token to local storage. That's what you're doing. So this is what this method is doing. And as you can see up here, what we are doing, we are calling the secured HTTP. This is not a login or registration endpoint. So we call the secured HTTP client, then call the create role. So if 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 the response is unauthorized, meaning if we check this response here and it is unauthorized, what we do is instead of making the user to be told that the token has expired. So if we check and the response is unauthorized, meaning you're not authorized, it could mean that maybe the token has expired. So what do? We push you to this. So we will send you together with the session ID to request that we set a new token for you. Then we will requery this method afresh. Okay. But if in any case we find out that you are not authorized, meaning the unauthorized is false, we'll return an error to you to tell you that maybe you need to check why that's not the case. But if it's unauthorized and you come here and you're able to request this token, you'll be able to query this method afresh and get the details of being able to create error. That is what is happening in this method. So next is the create user async or the register user. So we call this method here this, then add the async like that. So now you can see this one again is calling the secured HTTP, calling the register endpoint, and this endpoint, as you can see, it is within the user here. So it's calling this method here. So again, it will check for the authorization if the token has expired to generate a new one. And if not, if the authorization is false, meaning you are authorized, it will proceed to give you a response. Again, the same thing. If not, generate a new token, then call the method afresh. Okay, so save that. So next we proceed to the delete role async. This one you are being able to delete roles, so put here async like this. So we are calling the delete role, passing in the role ID, again doing the same checks to ensure that you are authorized or not. Then we'll call this method here like that. Okay, save that. Yeah, so you can see they are more or less similar in a way. So the next one is delete user. So how do we delete user? Put it here like this. Async. So again, we are passing the user ID, then ensuring that you are authorized before we can execute this request that you've pushed there. So next is the get role. So how do you get roles? Again, the same thing. Put it here like this. Async method like this. So again, we are pushing. Let me add this here so we are getting the role list from here. Then we're checking if you're authorized. If not, we'll request a new token, then get roles async again. Okay. So next is the get user. Get user. How do we get users? It's more or less like the roles. So again, you call the HTTP request, the user list, check for authorization. If not, query the method afresh. Simple. Start. Okay. So next, the login. So how do you log in? Again, put it like this. Async method here. Async. So here, what you're doing is now you're calling the unsecured HTTP client. Hit the login method because at this point I cannot check if you are authorized because it is obvious that if you're logging in, you're not authorized. So there's no way you'll have the token. So that's why we're calling the login, and if the response is correct, then we will return the successful response. If not, we'll return an error at this point. So next is the refresh token. So how do you get the refresh token? Again, this one here, you can see it's unsecured HTTP client. So we call the refresh token, then read the result and return else. Give us the exception that you get when you're calling this method. Okay, so that is it. Next is register. So let's do async here like this, then paste it like that. So again, call the register method, register the user, and then give us the response that you get. No authentication. It is you're registering a new user. So in this case, we are saying that you will not be able to have token at the point when you're doing that registration. So next we have the update role. So here we are updating roles, the same as the methods we had initially. We'll ensure you are authorized before you can update the role. Okay. So next is update users. So how do we update users? Again, it's not much different. By now you know what we expect. So put like this, like that. Again, call the update users, ensure authorization, and then you have it. So these are the methods that we will be calling within our client application. So I think with this now we are good to go. We are almost done. So let's meet in the next session to see how we can set up our interface and then consume these methods and see what we have. So again, thank you very much. And as we proceed, if you have not subscribed, please do so. Let's create a community that is indomitable, that is indispensable as far as creating solutions is concerned. So don't just watch, but support us on this course. My statistics show very low levels of subscription on the channel, yet it has a very high uh, response rate in terms of those who are watching. So it shows we are not doing it justice. So please just subscribe and let's proceed. It will really go a long way in helping us here. But I still appreciate your support and you passing by. Really, it's not to say that I don't value that which is your presence. So thank you once again, and let's meet in the next video. Thank you.